Those Muppets have only been coming the last.
Steve, you know one thing I'd like to say on that point, yeah, and it's a very important point, and I don't actually hear many people actually raising it. Yes, even if you're correct about there being the greater propensity.
That's not what I said.
No, I'm just saying
propensity.
Okay, a greater volume of violence. Let's say you're saying it happens from
over the last 3 or 4 years.
People who profess to be Muslims. Yes. Okay. Now let me ask you a question. Oh well, I say profess to be. I tell you why. Because many times we have people here, for example, who say that they're ex-Muslims, and then when we question them on the very basic things about Islam, they have no clue. And it turns out that they weren't Muslim at all. So that's why I say.
Violent ones.
No, but listen to my point, Steve. Yeah.
You're making another point.
No, I'm not. I'm going to refer to the exact point that you were making. Yes. If we have a situation, Jordan, yes, let's say where Arab countries were bombing Europe, Arab countries were putting pictures of Jesus and doing derogatory things, ripping off the crosses of Christians.
Like no,
Steve. Let me just.
But we have to be really clear on that.
Just bear with me.
I know you try and conflate
please, just bear. Steve.
You'd like to conflate the fact that Hatun has a Quran with holes in it. You'd like to conflate that with violence.
No, Steve. Let me just make. Steve, let me just make my point, and then you can, by all means, I'll give you an opportunity to come back.
You've been talking a lot more than I
have been, and I'll give you a chance. Yeah, Jordan. So if we had Arab countries bombing Europe, ripping crosses off people, doing all of these things, yes? Now tell me, Jordan, in those countries, the Christian youths, hot-headed fools, would you have an element of some of those people acting in a irresponsible, illegal, irrational, violent way? Would you? Of course you would, yes? Now, what do we have here now, Steve? We have Muslim countries, Steve, right, around the world, being bombed. We have, oh my God, we have in France, liberalism, under liberalism, yes, where people should be allowed to explore whatever they want to explore, do whatever they want to do.
It's over there.
Yes.
It's over there.
A little scarf on your head.
It's that way.
A little scarf on your head, and it gets torn off. It's illegal. So you have this persecution of Muslim lands, of Muslim people, and even in this country, Steve, you might say freedom of speech, freedom of expression. Yes, but in France,
physically touch them.
No. But freedom of speech, freedom of expression, even if it's grotesquely designed to humiliate, to insult somebody's beliefs, something that they hold pure, and then you're telling me, Steve.
What was the quote from our judge? Without the right to offend, freedom of speech does not exist.
Steve, but we should be very careful when we say these quotes. You know why? Because there are so many nuances to these subjects which completely are amiss. Yes? Now, Steve, if you're walking down the street and I insult your dog, yes? And you got angry.
My mother, I'm not going to punch you.
No, your dog. It could be your dog.
It could be my mother. I'm still not going to be offended.
But Steve. No, but Steve.
Well, that would be wrong.
No, but Steve.
Wrong,
Steve, you know and I know that there are.
Never met my mother, so therefore it would be a completely ineffective insult.
You know and I know that there are lots of thugs out there who would punch you in the face, and they're not all Muslim, are they?
Punch you. You're the one that's
right. If I said it right, exactly. Yes. So basically, we know that thuggery, illegal acts and people who are criminals, they exist out there. If I insult somebody's dog, if I insult somebody's football team in the wrong environment, I'll get my head kicked in. There are people out there who unfortunately not only have the propensity to, but are quite active in being violent and horrid. Yes? So what we have to do as intelligent human beings is say, like, you know what? We do give Muslims a really hard time, right? We've got people like Douglas Murray who are saying we should make life difficult for Muslims in Europe, right? If I said that about the Jews, right, I'd be arrested. I'd probably be put into prison. because that's an incredibly, incredibly insightful statement, right? When it comes to violence, right? But you can get away with that about Muslims. Now you have some hot-headed fools who react to all of this, and they come down. Now, why would you?
With all respect, you've not really.
Why would you accept any? Why would you?
Not listen to a thing I've said.
So what have I not? What have I ignored?
The fact that I questioned from the outset whether they were even Muslim.
No, I agree with you.
You're trying to turn this into a don't tar with the same brush or Muslim.
Steve,
because that's the point you want to make.
Steve,
that's why you've dragged all the cameras.
No, I didn't drag anybody. Steve, the point.
You sent him over to send me over to you. I didn't come, so you.
No. Because I had an intention. I spoke to Jordan before I even came down. What did I say to you, Jordan? I said if Steve is there, I'd like to have a discussion with Steve about what happened and the fact that as Muslims.
No.
What's the purpose?
To go talk on and on.
No.
We mustn't tar all Muslims with the same brush.
No, Steve, I'm only
That's what you've been talking about for the last half hour.
I'm only referring to
Which is odd, because that's something that I've not done, and I've said the opposite.
Why
would you then spend half an hour going
I'm only referring to the statement you
it?
made about there being a greater propensity of Muslims behaving badly.
That's not a word. I said statistically, over the last 3 or 4 years.
And what did I say to you?
Majority.
And what did I say?
That's not saying there's a propensity amongst Muslims. You're completely misconstruing what I'm saying.
I understand that. But what I'm trying to explain...
Then use the right words, because the words you're using, they're saying something very different.
Okay, let me address that directly then. Yes, I think I did, but let me address it directly. When you completely humiliate a people and you try to humiliate their religion, you say derogatory. No, I'm not saying that at all. Come on, let's be reasonable here, right?
Okay. Finish the sentence.
When you do that to a community, Steve, we recognise, and I would hope you would recognise as well, that despite it being wrong, there are always going to be a small minority of thugs, of fools, of idiots who are not going to be able to deal with that in a rational, logical, coherent way. What are they going to do? They're going to react just the same way. When you have Manchester United playing, I don't know, Millwall or whatever, right? It kicks off. Why does it kick off? Because these are thugs, right?
Until Mansur very positively stepped in 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Those idiots, as we've all agreed to describe them, have been coming here for 3 months approximately. I've not seen anyone step in at any previous moment.
The thing is this, right?
Their behaviour 2 weeks ago wasn't different to their behaviour.
There's 2 things here. Number one, you're presuming nobody has spoken to them just because you haven't seen it. Publicly. But again, as I said to you, I've spoken to, I believe, the same 2 privately. Whether it's just before or just after the incident, regardless, I have spoken to those people, right? And today we're talking about it. This is public, right? We're going public with it. We're saying that they're wrong, and this shouldn't happen, right, Steve? But all I'm saying to you is that hopefully we can in the future. Because as I said to you, I don't want to make this a point-scoring exercise. I'm just simply set to say here that this was wrong. What was happening was wrong. If there's violence here, it is wrong. If people who say that they're Muslims and they come here and they're violent, not only are they breaking the law, but they're breaking the Islamic law of behaving in that way, and they're hurting the Dawah, because we are here to do Dawah. Dawah is to invite, right?
My point last
exactly.
Week. How could anyone with half a brain think their behaviour is serving any purpose of Dawah?
Clearly they don't have half a brain, and that's why they do what they do, right? But the point I'm trying to make here, I hope, and this goes out as well, is that we have lots of people with less than half a brain in all of our communities. People have different triggers. For some people it's football, for some people it's religion, for some people it might be, I don't know
what their trigger is.
I think the trigger is I think from what I can see, the trigger is very simple. They see somebody insulting what they feel is Islam, and they just react in a knee-jerk reaction, and they're thugs, so they behave in a thuggish way, right? And the thing is, if I was to attack a particular football team and there was a supporter here, he might have some words with me afterwards, because that's what thugs do, right? So that's how we should see it in that light. But what we should not let it do, I'm glad that you've said that, and I'm glad that you've actually even been quite honest in a sense where you've said you don't even know whether they were Muslim.
I ever not been honest?
Well, we will have a propensity to twist the truth, right? But
we do.
Well, you more so than others. But anyway, but Steve, what I'm saying, hopefully in the future we can have discussions and debates and discussions, but in a nice way, in a cordial way, and hopefully, despite maybe leaving with a disagreement, we can be noble adversaries rather than be adversaries where there is a genuine hatred or a dislike for a people or a community as a whole, because I think that would be a very positive
let's try and ensure that these noble discussions, as you describe them, aren't portrayed as hateful or insulting.
I hope so.
Just by the fact that they're challenging points of disagreement.
And that's fine.
That doesn't constitute hate.
It doesn't. No, I totally agree. But the thing here is this, Steve. Yeah, we do have now, unfortunately. Now, look, for example, and I'm not going to mention the name. We have an individual who comes here, wears a T-shirt of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. She's been coming here for months. Well, with the T-shirt on for many months, right?
Over a year before lockdown.
Okay, over a year, right? With that T-shirt on. Now, there are probably thousands of Muslims that she's encountered. Out of that, we've had, I think, one or two idiots. Whether they were Muslim or not, we don't know. Because the first attack that slapped her, I heard from a good source that the police said that the guy wasn't Muslim. Now, I don't know whether that's true or not, but I heard it from a very, very good source, right? That the guy wasn't even Muslim. And she didn't press charges, yes? Now, the second incident or the third incident, again, the police were literally right there and they didn't catch the guy. I don't know how that happened, but he wasn't caught. Now, the point I'm trying to make here is that if Muslims were this, I'm not saying that you're saying this, but this is to the camera. If Muslims were like this violent, radical individuals, then she'd be attacked every single week, probably 10 times a day, right? But thankfully, most Muslims are intelligent enough and hopefully following their religion to a level whereby they realize that Islam does not allow this behavior, right? We're told to walk away. If somebody's jahil, they're ignorant,
and that's
walk away.
Often perplexed me, because maybe less so in very recent times, but she's swamped. There's always a swarm of Muslims around
They should leave her.
I've never understood why they're not doing what you just
Well,
suggested they should
I wish they would, because this is what our religion tells us to do, right? If somebody is truly, they have a lack of decorum, a lack of respect, their arguments are, I would say, literally in the gutter, they're filthy, then stay away, because when you enter into that type of discussion, you come out dirty as well. You can never remain clean around that type of discussion. But I wish they would walk away. But unfortunately, I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to antagonize. I mean, I saw one video where she realized that somebody was triggered. The guy actually walked away. She went and followed him, and she kept in his face, and she kept doing that in his face. Now, what she's trying to do, she's trying to get a reaction. He might push her or hit her or whatever it might be, and then they'll say, "Oh, look, the poor victim, has just been attacked by these horrible, savage, nasty Muslims again." I mean, this is not right? This is not a good way.
If your description of the scenario there is correct, she's winning, isn't she?
Absolutely, I totally agree with you, because as I said to you, there are always going to be.
Why can't you say that about the masked Muslims then?
I'm confused.
Okay, I'll compare Tan to the masked Muslims. You supported Tan. You said this is right. He used the most vulgar language out there, and you were his biggest supporter. And now
he was incredibly vulgar.
I like this, Steve, because you are saying that it's free from Islam. I like this, Steve, because today you said it's free from Islam.
It's not Mike. You probably didn't catch that.
No. I like this, Steve, because you've been down here saying grooming gangs, Muslims are this, Muslims are violent. Today you're saying actually they don't represent Islam. You don't like vulgar language, but you were supporting Tam for a year.
When did I say I don't like vulgar language?
You said they use vulgar language.
You do like vulgar language, Steve.
I didn't say I don't like vulgar language.
Well, you said one of your complaints about the masked Muslims is their vulgarness, their vulgarity.
No, I didn't use that word.
You didn't say that.
You can be as vulgar as you want. I don't really.
Oh, so we've got no issue with them then.
Well, no, they were threatening. They were being violent. So they were intimidating.
And intimidating.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
That was the whole point.
Nothing about vulgarity.
Yeah.
Vulgarity has, like it or not, vulgarity has to be one part of free speech.
So you support the mass Muslims' right to say whatever they want, no matter what the language is. You support that
as long as it's
as
not
long as they don't come in your
violence.
face. And do it.
Yeah, as long as it's not.
But so
threatening
Steve,
violence. that's my red line for
Okay,
free
but-
speech, and it's the law's red line.
I think
for
we
free
could stop
speech
violence
than
if
the
we
man.
no,
stopped
but
it
okay,
before that,
but okay, but Steve,
That's like saying
Steve,
that
I
the
would
rape
say.
victim is
No,
No, that's wrong. That's wrong. Steve.
If you're vulgar,
No,
you're kind of.
No,
you're
we're not
kind
saying
of
that. We're
to
not saying
blame
that.
for being
That's
same.
Steve.
No,
I would
You're
say.
not saying vulgarity is understandably sometimes going to lead from the low life.
If I was going to go into your face, someone's face, and shout a load of racist abuse at them, then I think I could be provoking a racist, violent reaction.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not talking about rape victims.
No, of course not. But Steve,
I'm saying we stop it
I would say freedom of speech, freedom of expression, right? I would say that at the funerals of the soldiers coming back from Iraq, yes, British soldiers, even though I passionately and emphatically disagree with what they did, and I think that they killed often probably many innocent people there, but I think it's grotesque and it's insulting to be burning poppies on their funerals, where their families are.
But Steve would support their right to do it.
No, I wouldn't.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
Yeah, that's the way the difference.
I wouldn't support the right. I would not support the right of people burning poppies at the funerals, because you know what, Steve? Even if you were to argue that those soldiers were horrid and they did what they did, what about their children? They're innocent. What about their wives? They're innocent. Yeah.
Number 6, the man hasn't got space for anymore.
So the point is, as a Muslim, I would say,
Yes, why not
I would,
This is racism.
this is racism. They're not giving the white man a single mic, you know. So Steve, I would suggest that this form of freedom of speech or freedom of expression is unfortunately vulgar. It is disgusting. It's disgraceful. And
there could be a question. Burning isn't free speech.
And Steve, and this is inciting.
She whips the Quran
This is inciting hatred and division within community. And above all, Steve, I would not stand up for that freedom. And I don't. And I would hope that actually you would not stand up for that, because that is grotesque. There has to be limits, Steve. You can't just have.
I would agree. It's grotesque and it's insulting. Would I, in statute, make it criminal? Not 100% certain.
I would, Steve. I would.
What about socially unacceptable?
No, I would.
Yeah, well, that's a subject of morality, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
not a subject of the law.
So
In
the
my
chap,
worldview.
Steve, the chap who urinated on the memorial.
He didn't urinate, he just
Well, he got jailed. He got jailed, right? Do you think that what he did was acceptable?
Well, urinating in public, full stop.
I agree, but he didn't get
Right.
but he didn't get done for that though, did he?
I don't remember the details.
He got done for urinating on the memorial.
The crime.
The crime was that it was
Yeah, but under what statute? Under what law?
I can't remember, but it was seen as something that was against the national.
Well, he got a very harsh
6 months or a year or whatever. He went to prison, right? Now what?
In fact, he got more of a punishment for doing that than people that graffitied and tried to burn the flags on the cenotaph.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is a bit.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
The
but
law isn't always applied.
I understand, but what I'm trying to say, Steve, in any civil society, for there to be a level of cohesion, there has to be a level of decorum. There has to be a level of decorum. There has to be a level of respect, and we can have our disagreements in the most passionate ways. However, we should not grotesquely try to insult an individual.
I mean, you going
or their
back to
religion.
Hatun, who you brought her up.
Yeah.
So dwelling on her for a moment more.
Oh,
she has been doing
Yes.
what she's doing now
Yes.
since pre-lockdown.
Yes,
so that
yes.
must make it more than 2 years.
Right.
2.5 years at least.
Yes.
And she's never been arrested, charged, convicted of doing
Yeah,
anything.
yeah.
So clearly, and the police see what she's doing.
Yes.
They're standing next to her
Yes.
on occasion. So
Yes.
clearly, as repulsed and everything else by it that you might be,
Yes.
clearly what she's doing within the realms of the law.
Yeah. Okay. So, Steve, if she had a picture of a Jewish man,
But she's doing what she's doing within the law.
Okay,
Do you
okay.
accept that point?
Well, I would say that yes, she is within the framework of the law. I would agree with you, right?
Yeah.
However, the law does say that you can't entice acts of violence or be grotesquely, encouraging that type of behaviour. So there are some restrictions that you could apply. But let's put it this way, Steve. If she had a T-shirt on of a Jewish man depicted with a large nose and a large ears, yes, with holding money, counting money.
Well, I'm afraid Jeremy Corbyn
Right?
and many of his ilk have done that numerous times. And as far as I'm aware, Jeremy Corbyn has never been
Hold on.
anything.
But then she'd
you
be
bring up
arrested.
examples,
No.
you know, well,
But Steve, but then she'd
But you're basically implying if you do the same towards Jews, you'll be banged.
I'm
in the
saying
slammer.
I'm saying that there's not there is an inequality here. I'm saying
Well,
there's
Jeremy Corbyn and his friends have got away
well,
with it.
well, let's talk about Jeremy Corbyn afterwards. I'm talking about this specific incident. If she can wear a t-shirt of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in a very derogatory way, yes, yet she can insult my Prophet. But if she insults just a member of the community, a Jewish member of the community, by showing a Jew with a big nose and big ears and counting money, she'd get arrested.
I'm not certain.
Oh, she would
get
do.
arrested,
She would do.
Which is why I bring up Jeremy Corbyn.
But she would do. You know, and
Ken Livingstone.
but you know what? You know what, Steve? She would do under the
guess,
law of anti-Semitism.
People have done it.
Anti-Semitism.
Famous people, famous politicians have done it.
Steve, you would get arrested for anti-Semitism.
Why wasn't Jeremy Corbyn arrested?
If I say, listen to
Why
me.
wasn't Ken Livingstone arrested?
Did Jeremy Corbyn wear a T-shirt with
They
with
have
a
both,
Jew?
whether it was on Twitter or in posters or in other avenues, they have both
Yeah.
put out
Yeah.
anti-Semitic.
Okay, so we can talk about that politics.
Pictures.
We can talk about the politics for one side, but let's just deal with the issue that we're
No,
talking.
I'm just using them as fairly famous,
But Steve,
notorious examples.